this core group has been together for a few years now. They cannot get it done when it matters most. Is it time to blow this team up?
Yes, it is. It's time to blow the team up, and I think Masai Ujiri, he knows this. I don't believe that Dwayne Casey needs to lose his job. I think that he's one of the best coaches in the NBA. They obviously had a highly successful season, regular season, obviously that is, and then they had the benefit of going up against the Washington Wizards in the first round. Having said all of that, here's why I don't think that I think it's inevitable that it's going to get blown up. They're not good enough, and Boston and Philadelphia are coming. The Philadelphia 76ers, regardless of what happens to this series against Boston, they're coming. The Boston Celtics have arrived because we're seeing what they're doing without Kyrie Irving. We've seen what they've done throughout this entire season without Gordon Hayward. Not to mention the fact that picks, along with the ability to make trades with the genius that is possessed by Danny Ainge, along with the coaching acumen of Brad Stevens, the Boston Celtics have arrived. And so when you look at it from that perspective, listen, LeBron is one angle. Philadelphia and Boston are others. And if you're the Toronto Raptors and you see the way things are trending, what you have is not good enough, which means that your two players, Kyle Lowry, $100 million, DeMar DeRozan, $139 million, one of them have got to go because you need to utilize those assets in order to get different kind of assets, because remember, they don't have cap space. They don't have any draft picks. So you're in a situation where you're going to need to work free agency and the trade market in order to try to pull off something. And that's what Masai's specialty is. So he's going to have to use one of his top two assets along with one of his bigs to literally get some different parts in Toronto to ward off what's coming. And I don't think that getting rid of Dwayne Casey is the answer. I think that relying upon someone other than the two-headed monster that you have has to be it, because chances are LeBron James is going to stay in the Eastern Conference. And if he's going to stay in the Eastern Conference, if he goes to Philly or Boston, it's a wrap. If he stays in Cleveland, he's still better than Toronto. That is your problem if you're the Raptors, and you have to make a change.
The problem with the Toronto Raptors is they have no transformational players on the team, period. Stephen A., we were arguing about this a couple weeks ago. I said, well, you called DeRozan special. And forget about the mentality right now. I'm just talking about the level as a player. And I said, he's an all-star, but there are lots of all-stars. He's not special. I mean, anyone playing at the NBA and that level is special. But by the standards of NBA players, he's just an all-star. He's not an MVP caliber player. He's 4-star. He's not 5-star. And here's the problem Toronto has. And here's the problem with the way Ujiri, who, as you know, other than Danny Ainge, I think is as good as it gets as a GM. But here's the problem he has. GMing an undesirable market. And by that, I mean, I know Toronto's a big cosmopolitan city, but it's cold weather and it's north of the border, so you got to deal with customs. There are all kinds of reasons where players would just rather stay in the States, not deal with customs all the time, especially warm weather cities. It's one of the reasons I think the Western Conference has been stronger than the East for so long. But when you're in a market like that and it's going to be hard to attract free agents, it's not good enough just to be good enough. So Ujiri did what he did. He had DeRozan, you get Lowry, you put some shooters around him, you have a plan, and that will get you to be a second-round playoff team, and you'll be on that treadmill forever. Or you can do what Hinkie did. You tank and get enough draft picks that you have transformational players like Embiid and Simmons, and I think we would all take Philadelphia's future over Toronto's. Now, of course, the best version of all of that is what Danny Ainge did, where he kind of did both, right? He has great draft picks, plus he has Boston's a more desirable market. It's easier to get free agents and all that. But I would remind you, the special players that Boston has are by and large because Danny Ainge built up a war chest of draft stock. That's how he acquired a lot of these guys. Not just Tatum and Brown, but when you look at how he finagled, trace back all the moves, it's just about everyone on the team. Ainge traded players for draft picks, built up a war chest of them, and then let that loose on the league. And now the Celtics and the Sixers are 1-2 in the East going forward for the foreseeable future. Ujiri's way, Stephen A., doesn't work as well. In the short run, it does. But if you want to win championships, Ujiri's way doesn't work.
No.
You can't say that.
You can't say that because he has hasn't had the assets to be able to pull off what Danny Ainge pulled off. Remember, he acquired Kyrie in free agent, via trade. He acquired Gordon Hayward via free agency. When you look at Masai, it's a situation where with Danny Ainge, you had the big ticket KG, you had Paul Pierce, you had Ray Allen and Rondo, and ultimately what happened is you were able to trade Paul Pierce and KG to Brooklyn, where Pekarov, the former owner in Brooklyn, forced Billy King to make a deal that basically cost Billy King his executive career, at least
but
for
what I'm saying,
the time
Stephen A., is
being.
DeRozan was an all-star asset before he got paid. And Ujiri looked at DeRozan and said, that guy can be the best player on a championship team. He was wrong about that. He'd have been, that's why they say trade a player a year too early instead of a year too late. Really, the best
He didn't say he could be the best player on a championship team. He said that I have to hold on to him because I can't get what I need for him. So I got to pay this man. That's the difference.